They're so old in that picture.
Welcome, everybody, to this latest Around the Ropes YouTube exclusive. Now, guys, I appreciate everybody who has watched the interviews I've been doing this week. I know I have done a lot, but guys, the best is yet to come. Because joining me right now is the man behind it all, the man behind Dynasty, who, by the way, this weekend, if you have not realized this from the whole week of calling this Dynasty Week, presents Brace for Impact. And actually, I have to say it the right way, the Dynasty, not Dynasty, because that's something else.
Yes, thank you, Billy.
The one, the only, Chris Envy returns to the show. Chris, how you doing?
Good, man. Thank you. Thank you. How are you?
Doing good. I seriously, is it Saturday yet? I'm just asking.
No. I hope not. I'm not ready. I'm not ready.
Before we get to what's going on this Saturday, I want to go back a little bit to the show in February. Obviously, we know it garnered some interest because,
a little bit.
Velveteen Dream got brought in. Before we get into the Velveteen Dream stuff, how do you feel the show went? The one in February.
That was our 35th show since Dynasty started, and it was without a doubt the best show we've ever put on from top to bottom. In ring, the way it looked, everybody behind the camera, behind the microphones, everything. The crowd was the hottest crowd we've ever. I mean, it was the best show we've ever done.
I will agree on that, and that was my second Dynasty show I was at, and I think there was 300 people in the crowd that night.
Yeah, yep. We ran out of chairs. It was standing room only. I mean, literally standing room only. It was amazing.
Well, I remember about the standing room only because even I had to give up my chair.
Yeah. Everybody, yeah. All the merch tables had to give up chairs. The front door had to give up their chairs. They pulled chairs out of the break room, out of the meeting area upstairs. Like every chair in that building was used, and it still wasn't enough.
But the funny thing is, I've said this after, I said this a lot after the show. There could have well been 1,000 people in that building that night.
It felt like it. It really did. The energy was infectious.
No, and honestly, my biggest moment of that night, and I said this actually when we had Brother Jonas on for a previous YouTube exclusive, I brought up to him defeating Wrecking Ball to me was probably my biggest shocker of the night.
For sure.
Just on the perspective of the size difference, because Wrecking Ball Legursky, I call him a building with legs. I think that's the best way I can describe him.
I agree.
You look at his height, you look at somebody like Brother Jonas, you would think it's going to be a 30-second squash match and Wrecking Ball's going to go over. And all of a sudden, when Brother Jonas won, I looked around and I think there was mouths were on the floor. Like nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're going out, but you still, Jonas, he's leaving the business. He left the business, but he wasn't done. And I feel there's still a lot there mentally. There's a lot in his heart. He's in a tough spot, where he goes to school to train. Most of the other people there are very green and they're still trainees. And a lot of times when you're green and you're training and you get thrown into shows, you start to develop a chip on your shoulder and you think you're ready and you think you know everything and your idea is the best. I was that way. I was the most arrogant rookie in Rocky Mountain history. So, and it really sours you to the business. And I feel like that's what really happened to Jonas. I don't think he was done. I don't think his body gave up on him. He didn't get injured. I feel like he needed a break from the monotony of what he was doing. But I don't think we've seen the last of Brother Jonas.
No, and I even said it to him when we had him on, because I kind of looked at him. I'm like, okay, you're one of the most over people in the upstate area. I'm like, you have everything going for you right now. Why now do you decide? Why now is it the time? Okay, I'm going to walk away. I know we've seen it a lot in pro wrestling where wrestlers don't have that ability to decide
Right.
to make a leave. So I give him credit for realizing, okay, maybe it's my time. But I agree 100%. I don't think we've seen the last of him.
Yeah, we'll see. Time will tell. Never say never in wrestling.
No, believe me, I've learned that very quickly. But the one thing I do want to bring up with the Velveteen Dream thing, and honestly, when I saw that he was there, I didn't have any issues with it. And looking back on it now, do you still stand by your decision to brought him in?
100%. So I know it's a very unpopular opinion, and people think I did things shady, and I didn't take into account other victims and his allegations. I understand. I do. And to the people that were offended in any way or felt they were blindsided in any way, I do sincerely apologize. I stand by my decision to give Patrick Clark another chance because I did do the research. For months, I did the research. Um, my children were there. All of my kids were at that show, and at no point did I feel that they were in any kind of danger or that he had any ill will or ill intentions. Um, I have a certain way that I feel it was interpreted by the masses and the Twitter culture that wants to cancel everything. Um, but we talked for not every day. We're not like he probably wouldn't call me a friend. I've said that before, but I was giving him an open forum to kind of see how he was accepted. I would have changed things about the way that I did it. I would have given the locker room an opportunity to decide if they still wanted to be there. Although I did, people were aware when they first got to the building. Um, I didn't tell them in advance. Maybe I should have because some people traveled in from other areas and long distances, and you drive for a long time. You're not going to want to turn around and go home. You want to, you're there to work. So that I do. I wish I had given the locker room an opportunity. We did lose talent over that. There are people that said that they won't wrestle for us because we did that, and it was a lapse of judgment and distasteful. And say what you want, I don't I don't agree that it was distasteful. I didn't hide it because I was worried about the crowd. I hid it because if you've been to a Dynasty show, we like to surprise people. We want you to feel like you're a fan again, and that you never know what to expect, and you can't miss a Dynasty show because you don't know who's going to be there. We're not always going to have names. We're not always going to have stars. And when we do, sometimes we'll tell you and sometimes we won't. It was my way of saying thank you for taking a chance on us. When we did Jay Lethal, he didn't advertise. We didn't make money on 8x10s and autographs. He was there. He did all of that stuff for free, and we did it for the fans. So I felt the same thing with Dream. And I felt it would be more 50-50, positive and negative, 60-40, maybe negative. I did not expect 90-10 negative. We lost people from the locker room. Black and Yellow is no longer with us. That was huge for us. I'm a fan. I still hope someday, I hope they come back. I don't know if they will. They're happy where they are. But Patrick's been booked other places. The uproar that we got and the bullets that we took, I did that to us. 100% my decision. Nobody knew he was there until he got there. Nobody, including his opponent. Alec Odin didn't know he was there. Nobody in the locker room knew. So again, that's on me. 100% on me. So if I offended anybody, hurt anybody's feelings, anybody felt that they can't trust me, I apologize.
And I remember seeing a lot of the comments coming out, and I noticed a trend with a lot of the comments being said on Twitter about it. A lot of them were people who didn't even know Dynasty existed. So, because I remember sitting there in the crowd when he came out, and when he came out after the tag match, and then he came out for the main event, and he was getting cheered big time. Nobody was booing him. I also didn't see anybody leave. So I just want to put that out there. nobody left, and we just lost Chris there for a second. But that's the big thing I just wanted to bring up is I never saw him leave. I never saw anybody leave. And the fact of people making the comments they did, to me, it's ridiculous. To me, and I kept quiet on this for a while, but I just want to say this quickly. And this is, we're just waiting for Chris to come back here. But I think realistically, the people who were complaining, you weren't there. And I'm not sitting here, waving the dynasty, the dynasty flag. I'm just speaking the truth here right now. And realistically, like I said, I am, I've always said this much. I'm appreciative for what the dynasty has done. They have given me a lot of opportunity. Oh, there we go. Chris is back now, so let me just bring him back in here.
Sorry, bud.
You're good. No, what I was just saying is the people who were complaining about it weren't even in the, because I didn't see it and I was standing that night. I was standing by the bar area, so I was kind of standing by the exit. I didn't see anybody leave.
Yeah. So the one thing I was proud of, I was proud of a lot of things that night that everybody else did, but we brought him out during the first match and made it clear that he was going to be there later on. So to your point, they had the opportunity to leave if anybody was genuinely offended or felt any kind of way. And you're right, they didn't leave. Obviously after intermission, people do tend to leave. They're tired. They think shows run late. We are done by 9:15 every single night, but it was still a hot crowd. People were still there holding up their children for him to high five and take pictures with. I mean, you're not going to do that if you feel he's an evil person, because he's not.
No, and honestly, I got a chance to talk to him afterwards for a few minutes, and very down to earth, very, very humble.
Yes, humble.
And honestly, and I'll be honest, I thought him coming from the world of WWE, I thought he would have this massive ego because of, and I'm not saying because of what happened. I'm just saying because of, he came from, that company up in Stanford.
Right. I mean, fame has a way of changing who you are. So who knows, when he was in NXT, maybe he did, maybe he was that way. But the person that I met, the Patrick Clark that I picked up at the airport, was not, he had no arrogance to him at all. No ego, no chip on his shoulder, talking about his fur babies and his farm. I mean, a regular dude.
But like I said, I was kind of saying as well, while you had the technical issue there for a second, I just feel like like I said this before, the people who were complaining because they thought it was cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll just leave it at that.
Still hurt, though.
I want to fast forward. I want to, look ahead now, because I look at it this way. That was in the past. The bigger show's coming up this weekend, this Saturday,
right,
from the Water of Elite Dome in Water of Elite, New York. Folks, definitely go get your tickets. Go to purplepass.com/B, the number 4 Impact. That's the letter B, the number 4 Impact. If you go to the Dynasty Facebook page, or if you're friends with a lot of people from the Dynasty, you can use the code. And I don't think the code gets you anything off, if I remember correctly.
No, Before Impact just brings you right to the ticket site. So okay. Purple Pass, there's all kinds of stuff on there. There's Mother's Day things, there's concerts, there's strolls in the park. Anything you can sell tickets to is on that website. So the B4 Impact is just to get to the Dynasty's ticket selling platform. We do coupons. I might do one tomorrow just to try and get some last minute sales. But those are different. Those are promo codes, not
like I said. But like I said, folks, if you're in the area, definitely get your tickets. You're not going to want to miss this show. We're actually going to go. We're going to look at the card right now, and the first match I want to look at actually is, and I saw this on the Facebook page, is what's being touted as the main event, and that's Fox Vineyard taking on Conan.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see this match playing out?
Fox got a little lippy last time. He cheated to win against Sergeant Fury, and Fox did what he typically does, and he put himself over. This time was at my expense. He made reference to my wife letting me be around ringside because I'm not supposed to be. Not cool, man. Not cool. So I found somebody that I thought Styles would match well with, and that could kick Fox's ass, to be blunt. I mean, I can't physically do it myself anymore because of my neck injury. So I'm gonna just keep finding people to put in his way and humble him because he needs it.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I brought up this match now a couple of times now to the other previous guests we've had on, and the same comment everybody has said with this match: they don't care what happens as long as Conan beats Fox's ass. That's the exact words I've heard.
Yep. In a one-on-one match, I don't see Fox coming out on top. I just don't.
No, and the thing is also, this is his hometown, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the Arsenal City. Yep.
So
Fox is a good dude. I know he means well, but he doesn't know when to shut his mouth. How many times do you see Fox on a poster around here? You don't. We're the only ones that give him a chance. And if you're going to talk trash to me, you might not be wrestling here. So tread lightly, sir.
But I want to keep things moving here because next match we have on here is actually going to be a debut, as we are going to see the return in Brandon Smith with Mr. Man taking on the debuting Jeffrey Nova. I'm using the exact verbiage from the Facebook post.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about? What's your thoughts on this match?
I think Brandon's a piece of trash, to be quite honest with you. He's a good worker. But the things, I mean, we haven't seen Wayno since their match together. Disregard for Wayno's body. Clearly Wayno was going through things mentally around that time after losing at Capital Games, and he just took advantage. I mean, you hurt a guy and you laugh about it, and then karma. Brandon was supposed to be at the last show and he got injured. So Jeff he's like a flying squirrel, man. That dude is all over the ring, so speedy, so fast, so agile. He doesn't remember, but when I first moved back to New York right after the pandemic, I was in the ring with him at another school up north, and he's definitely got something there. That underdog fighting spirit, and I like it. I just don't know that it's going to be enough to beat Brandon.
Just to play devil's advocate here for a second, if Nova is able to get the win on Saturday, do you think that could position him for bigger things down the road in the Dynasty?
I mean, yeah. Anybody that can beat Brandon Smith deserves to be put in the spotlight. I mean, he's no joke. He is the damn Yankee, and he's got Mr. Man behind him. I mean, it's a lethal combination. I don't know that Nova can get by him, but if he does, I mean, we definitely got to take a look at him. I guess it really depends on how the fans react to him. If the fans take to Nova, it might be worth bringing him back. If he gets destroyed in a couple minutes, then it is what it is, and we kind of see that coming.
Hey, it's gonna be telling with him because, like, I've also seen him wrestle before, and the thing with Nova, I've noticed he's very resilient. I think it's the best way I can describe it.
You're gonna need it.
And well, especially with somebody like Brandon Smith, because I think the big thing with this one is the size difference. Because Brandon Smith is a tall dude, but he's also very bulky.
True, broad shoulders.
Nova, on the other hand, is, not to sound mean here, but I think is 100 pounds soaking wet. If you get my drift.
Yeah, could be right. But you know what? I was small when I started out too, and I lost a bunch of matches until I learned to use my speed and agility in to help me. So it can be done.
No, that very well could
be too green.
But that very well could be Nova's X factor there is his speed. But next match I want to get to is a match I have covered extensively in these series of interviews. And the reason I say I've covered this match extensively is I've actually interviewed both of these guys, Punk and Sergeant Fury.
Right.
Now,
Right.
I've heard from now when I had Fury on last week, he kept saying how he felt like Punk was being protected in World of Hurt. I
Okay.
had Punk on, and Punk basically said that he wasn't being protected. And these guys, just in the conversations, and folks, definitely go back and check them out. They are two phenomenal interviews. How do you see this match playing out?
Oh man, it's going to be a hard hitting match. They've both talked trash. They're both huge, huge fan favorites. I know this is Punk's first time with us. Um, so I know there's a lot of people that want to see him wrestle locally. He does wrestle. He wrestles World of Hurt, but World of Hurt is they are very smart, and they put their shows on in Massachusetts and Vermont where they don't have the same commission that we do. Smart. So that's where Punk does most of his wrestling. This is the first time for a lot of people being able to see Punk in a number of years. So there's going to be a very heavy Punk influence on the crowd. But Fury is the heart and soul of Dynasty. I mean, you guys have all said it 100 times. So he's also going to have fans behind him. So it's going to be real tough to see where the fans side. Like it's going to be a hard hitting match, though.
Well, the big thing with this one, and I said this a couple of times this past week, one of the, I don't know if you can say the pitfall for Fury, and I hope this doesn't happen, is the emotions of it. Because if you go back and listen to the interview I did with him, and I brought up Punk, all of a sudden he got very emotional. I said this afterwards. It was probably the most raw and emotional I've ever seen an independent wrestler on this show.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I thought about clipping it myself and sharing it on the Dynasty page. However, I don't have that many beeps. You would have to bleep out every third word. There was a lot of passion, a lot of anger, hostility, almost like he feels like he's been overlooked. So when you feel that you're better than somebody, you never get a chance to prove it. Goldberg and Jericho, when you finally do get that chance, it doesn't usually end well for the other person.
No, and that's my biggest fear going into this match is the emotion part. Because if all of a sudden, because even Fury said in the interview, when your back is against the wall, you're become a dangerous person.
Mm-hmm. And it is, to be quite honest, his back is against the wall. He's been with us a very long time, but he hasn't won since we've come back. He won the Big Jim Memorial at Capitol Games against one of his closest friends. But when the matches matter as far as wins, losses, Fury hasn't been there when it matters. And if he continues to lose, I mean, yeah, everybody's got jobbers. Everybody's got, we don't call them jobbers because we respect people, but everybody's got the guy who never wins a match, Kurt Hawkins, whatever. That's not what I want our fans to get behind winners. And if Fury can't win, he might have to find somewhere else to wrestle. I mean, not this match, but if we can't put it together, come on, dude.
And I kind of said that on, this past, when I had the live show, Around the Ropes podcast this past Tuesday. After this show, obviously we have the 2 shows in June. We'll get to those in a bit. You don't want to start going into the shows in June and then the show in August and then going into the fall and not having a few wins under your belt, because eventually there's going to be titles coming up.
Oh, yeah, there could be.
And you don't want to walk in, especially when titles are on the horizon at some point. I'm not saying next show or whenever. Fury, I know, is somebody who a lot of people want to see hold a belt in Dynasty. In the Dynasty.
Sure. Yeah.
You can't give somebody a belt if they haven't gotten a win yet.
Yeah, well, belts hold up your pants. Champions hold titles. But you're right. You're absolutely right. If you're another example, he wants to be in our first title match. He's told me that point blank. We talked before we went on the air that he wants to hold the title and he wants to make it mean something. But does it? If you're 0-74, like you got to win some. You got to be the best that we have. And if you're not, then you're not. And right now he's not. So, I mean, I hope he's listening to this and I hope he finds that motivation, because I love Dan. Sergeant Fury needs to show me something. Show me that you are who everybody believes you are, because everybody believes in Sergeant Fury except Sergeant Fury.
I'll put it this way, then we'll move on to, because we got two more matches to look at. Yeah, two more. I wanted the Fury I want to see on Saturday is the Fury that was on this podcast last week.
Yeah, I would pay to see that.
That the raw emotion where even he started to get teary-eyed a little bit. And I get it, trust me. When you get to that point, the emotions are going to play a role. But like I said, when your back is against the wall, do you want emotions to play that big of a role? But let's keep things moving here, because now we do have the Diamonds division to talk about.
Ooh, yeah.
And
the stacked match.
This is the graphic. As of now, we don't know what the match is going to be. It could be a 6-woman elimination match. It could be a 5-on-1 match. I have no idea.
Yeah, true.
But I think this match could be a little tough to kind of dissect, because of the fact we don't know what this match is going into the show.
Well, if you know anything about the Diamonds division, since we came back, it's been complete and utter chaos. It's been very difficult to wrangle it in, and we've had some incredibly talented people come through those doors. And DeVille, to her point, she's right. I have not nurtured that division the way that I should. We've always had a Diamonds match on every single event, and we will continue to do that going forward, at least one. But I did not take the time and the care to give that division the attention that it deserves, and I own that. I try to give them time. I try to bring in good talent. I try to give the fans what they want, but I haven't really invested in very many stories. So that's DeVille's job. Bring in the best talent that you can afford with the budget that I give you, and make them talk about the women's division. Because if they're talking about it and they want to see it, we will continue to showcase it, and it will move its way up the card, and it will main event shows. We're not there yet, but we can be. We had an all-women show in August of 2018. All women. It was an incredible show. And we could do that again if the fans get behind it.
And the biggest thing also I noticed is you don't see a lot of independent companies giving women, I hate to say, giving women a chance. Let me put it that way.
It's true. I will say, I would like to make it more 50-50. However, as a general rule, I can get 3 matches of men for the same price I can get 1 match of women, because they do tend to charge more. Pulling back the curtain a little bit, that is the main reason I haven't had more women on most shows. It's because I just can't afford to. These people that are flying women in, and maybe they're getting the views, maybe they're making residual money from online plays. We don't get that. We're not streaming. We don't have pay-per-views. We are just tickets at the door, and that's the only place where our money comes from. And we pay people ahead of time, and we don't have all that money to bring people in. So if anybody wants to take a little bit of a discount, I would love to bring you in. But if not, we got to get to that level where we can afford to, because I'm cheap.
But I think eventually, with how the Dynasty is going, especially since the relaunch back in October, I think that's going to happen at some point.
I agree. This show, it came together really quickly and very, very easily. And it doesn't happen that way. Most of the big hurdles that we have in upstate New York all took care of themselves within a couple days of announcing the date, with the exception of moving the date for obvious reasons. But it was almost too easy for everything to just kind of fall into place. And I was like, okay, where's the other shoe going to drop? What's going to happen? Nothing. Doctor, ambulance, venue, talent, everything has been so smooth. It's been great. So I agree. I think we're doing well, and we'll continue to grow, hopefully, and get to the point where we can make it more of a 50-50 male-female booking.
Honestly, I can't wait. And I've said this to you before. I'm on for the ride.
I appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And last match I want to get to is a match that actually is going to be involving the next guest I have on here. And that's a return in Wayno taking on Black Rose, spelled Roze, not Rose.
Well, when you're that far down on the card, I just don't pay attention. I don't. You're lucky I'm going to be who your name. But I'm glad Wayno was finally medically cleared to come back, and I feel like this match could steal the show.
Well, the funny thing is, I forgot who I was. It when I had. I think it was when I had Jason on. It was either it was Jason. Oh no, it wasn't. I forgot who I had on, and I was sort of fantasy booking this whole Black Rose thing.
It was Jason with the chalkboard being tied up. Yeah, fuck you guys.
Well, the tied up part wasn't me. That was the photographer.
Right. Well, if he wants to take pictures of me being tied up, we need to set up an OnlyFans.
No, what I was going to say though is, I mean, there is a person, a part of the behind the scenes team who is a teacher who I think you could have an interesting segment there.
No, she's not any good.
But I'm really looking forward to all these matches. I would ask you what match are you looking forward to, but I think it's safe to say all of them.
Oh no, I definitely have one that I'm looking forward to.
Which one?
I can't tell you that. There's a reason I'm looking forward to it, and I can't tell you. I'll tell you next week.
Gotcha.
Do you know why Black spells his name with a Z?
I don't know why.
It's when you watch his match, all the Z's up in the air as you fall asleep, watching his matches.
I mean, when I had Black Rose on here after the February show, I mean, I did say, that when he had his tag team match, I was like, yeah, I totally forgot who your tag partner was.
Yeah. So did I, and I booked him. So people have asked, like, who was that guy in all red? Oh, I don't know. Black Rose is the one that stood out in that match. I mean, the aforementioned tag team that's no longer with us, fantastic. Every match they're in is fantastic. Crowd pops every time they come out. They're amazing. But Black Rose stood out in that match. There's a reason. There's something special about that dude. I give him shit. He knows I give him shit. The post that we put up with all the Z's every time there was supposed to be an S, that's just a jab at him. It's playful, but there's something special about that kid. He's got a lot of heart.
He definitely does, and I think it's safe to say that with every member of the in-ring side of things when it comes to the Dynasty. They all put it out there. But I do also want to make the mention that there will be another kickoff podcast again for this show.
Awesome. You gonna be on it?
Yeah, I would think so. I'm kind of the one running it.
Oh, all right.
But also there's going to be sort of a kickoff / watch along type thing.
Nice.
Which I have not done yet an independent show, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. But looking ahead, obviously we got let's talk about quickly about the two shows coming up in June. The first one is June 1st, I think.
Yes, sir. Very excited for that one.
And I popped for the name of it because it fits so perfectly.
Yes, we are working with
the name of the you have that one, and then you have you have that one, and then you have the show the end of June. And then I think the show the end of June, you guys are back at Empire Live.
You're not going to say the name of the show June 1st?
Oh no, I'll say it. Sounds gay. I'm in.
Yeah. Yep. Now say the name.
Sounds gay. I'm in.
Oh, I know, but say the name of the show.
Which one? The end of June?
No, June 1st.
I just said it. Sounds gay. I'm in.
Yep. Thank you.
But then
all right, so we're working with Schenectady Pride, and it's the first time anybody has done any kind of show with Pride in upstate New York, and we're just showing that wrestling is all inclusive. It's for everybody. My oldest daughter being gay, we've always been big supporters of the entire community. Wrestling there's a love there. There's no pun. I'm not trying to make funny jokes. There's a love that crosses all waves of life, and I don't care who you love. You should just be happy that you can love somebody. So if you're a fan of Dynasty, please come check us out. If you're at that event, just stop over. It's not a big deal. We're gonna have short little show, 45 minutes. It's just to celebrate. Like let's go out there, have a good time, put on a performance. It's gonna be lots of other performers, DJs, all kinds of stuff going on. So come out, check it out. It's free.
Hey, you can't beat that. And then the end of the show, the end of June, is back at Empire Live, or as I call it, the Dynasty Arena.
Yes, the Dynasty Arena. That's a good name
And that
for it.
one
I like it.
Because realistically, yes, I haven't been to a concert there. I've heard, seeing a concert there is great. The two shows I've been to have been the two Dynasty shows up there. So I call it the Dynasty Arena.
We, after this upcoming event, Empire Live will be the exclusive home of Dynasty unless we are doing like a school fundraiser or something fun like a Pride event. Outside of those, we won't be doing very many bookings anywhere else. That is home. They take great care of us. They help out with whatever we need. They've been fantastic. So if you want to see Dynasty and it's not at a local school, it'll probably be at Empire Live.
And it's easy now because I remember the first time going there and I literally drove around 10 times till I figured out where the parking was.
Across the street. There's also a parking garage right next to us. You just have to pay to park.
Well, I had to pay to park at the other one too, across the street.
No, not on weekends, sir. Not in Albany. It's free. There's a sign up, but just like parking in front of a meter in Albany, you don't pay after 5 o'clock and you don't pay on weekends.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. I'll put a post up about it later because I'm sure a lot of fans didn't know that.
Oh, because I didn't know that. But look, obviously, like I said, I'm glad to get you back on here. I'm looking forward to the show. I seriously cannot.
Without Ryan.
Hmm?
These shows are a lot smoother and easy to listen to without Ryan.
I appreciate that. But like I said, I'm looking forward to the show on Saturday. I seriously cannot wait for this show. And it's going to be a fun time being up there once again.
It definitely will. Yes, it will. It will.
But Chris, once again, like I said, thank you for hopping on. If fans want to buy tickets, it's purplepass.com/before impact, correct?
Yes, sir.
And tickets are still available, folks. Like I said, we've gone over the card. If you watch the other interviews I've done, I've gone over the card. It feels like 100 times now. But guys,
to be fair, I don't normally tell anybody what the card is. So maybe you're just overzealous.
Yes, and by the way, thank you for putting the card out.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Don't get used to it. It's not happening for June.
I kind of figured that much.
It's done. Although I will say ticket sales have been really good for really strong for this show. So maybe putting out the card has helped.
Yeah, no, I totally agree on that. But Chris, like I said, I appreciate you for hopping on. Guys, for Chris Envy, I'm John. This has been Around the Ropes, YouTube exclusive. Again, guys, catch the Dynasty as 8% Brace for Impact this Saturday live from the Waterville Dome. But guys, we'll catch you guys next time right here on the Around the Ropes podcast.